Okay, so I have Etornam in the studio with me. Etornam,
Hi, Natalia.
you are welcome to the zone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, it feels different.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always here.
And yes, but I mean, just you and me together.
Yeah, it's true.
It does feel different.
This is the first time.
Yeah, this is the first time, so it
Yeah.
feels different. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How
Okay,
are
see
you?
how I'm asking the question again and again? I've asked that already, haven't I?
Yes.
So twice, okay. All right, so tell me what is in the trends today?
One thing that has been trending, I don't know, since morning, there is a gospel beef. Now,
Oh.
yes, that it was actually quite interesting for me because I woke up and I saw Florence Obinna trending. I
Okay.
saw Joe Metal trending. I saw Esther Smith trending. I saw
Okay.
Cindy Thompson.
Okay.
And I was wondering what is going on.
Oh.
And then I realized we are asking questions on who the greatest of all time is.
Oh.
I mean, who is your favorite gospel musician?
The gospel goat
Yes.
is what we're asking.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, I'm not. And anytime I say this, I'm a little ashamed, but I'm not big on Ghanaian gospel.
Okay.
I'm not. However, I mean, I love everybody. However, the gospel musician, in my case, musicians, because there's two of them, who really did it for me was Jane and Bennis.
Oh.
People don't talk about them much. I don't know why.
I think what is the song?
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
yeah, that's Jane and Bennis.
Yeah, that's Jane and Bennis. They are my favorite. I see that people don't talk about them much.
Yeah.
So I just stay in my little corner and know that
No,
they.
you shouldn't stay a little because I really like them as well.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where they are.
I
right
know,
now, but-
I know. They are definitely my favorites.
Okay.
I just love them.
But
I-
Esther Smith, she was the one a lot of people were talking about, saying that, some people are for Joe Metal, but they feel like Joe Metal is very recent. We are talking, the old time.
We're talking
and something-
decades.
Well, it's nice to have Nyame, Guama, Jesus from Esther Smith and all of that, but doesn't she just have a very good PR team, like a team that is promoting it? Recently she said she's releasing an album. She went on a couple of interviews, even with some content creators as well, and her promotion has been quite big. I mean, I've not seen that with a lot of our gospel musicians. I don't know why. Actually don't know why, but it seems when it comes to PR, marketing yourself and all of that, now that we've moved from the whole track moving by your house with the speakers and say come and buy the CD and all of that, do gospel musicians really know how to promote their music? I mean, as against the secular artist. I know there's the whole
When you say that, you mean Ghanaian gospel musicians?
Yeah, Ghanaian gospel musicians. But who is your favorite foreign musician though?
Gospel?
Yeah, gospel.
I have quite a few. When it comes to music, I'm a bit weird when it comes to music.
Okay.
So
Are you there? It depends on the time. It depends on the season. It depends on a lot of things. I don't have just one person I stick to.
I actually do have just one person I stick to. Like I told you, Jane and Bennis for me is like my favorite Ghanaian gospel musician, right? It hasn't changed. I don't see it changing. I love everybody else though. I mean, I sing a lot of Joe Metal songs. I can sing everybody's songs.
Okay.
But definitely Jane and Bennis for me.
Okay.
And then when we move internationally, I don't think I have one person. I have quite a number of them.
Why? Why is that for Ghana you have one and then for international you
It's about how their music appeals to me or how their music touches me.
Okay.
For me, it's just like that. It's just Jane and Bennis for me in Ghana because
But what about Jane and Bennis though? Because we haven't heard from them in quite a while. So even though I can appreciate why, because I also really like them, why have they stuck with you all through? Is it the words? Is it the lyrics of the song?
You know what? It's actually just that one song.
Which song is
The
that?
one we just sang.
Really?
Yes.
Why? Was it?
It speaks to me.
Okay.
It speaks to me. It's just that one song. It speaks to me. I mean, I've heard so many fantastic gospel songs, but none of them speak to me quite as much as that particular song.
Natalia, I'm really surprised because so you don't know any other Jane and Bennis song. Do you know any other?
Oh, I know a few.
Okay.
I know a few because obviously, and that's the thing. That's how we fall in love with artists. You hear that one song, and then you go and check out their catalog, and you find a whole lot.
Yes.
You end up even loving more than the one you heard. And so, yes, I know a lot of their other songs. But for me, that one particular song, it just speaks to me. I'm big on on Times and Seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that is the only Ghanaian gospel song that speaks to me in that way, or that has spoken to me in that way. So yeah, I've just stayed there.
With that.
I've just stayed there. And no other song has. I always said that I would play that song when I get married, or when I have like that big whatever. And I've played that song again and again and again in different times and seasons of my life. And each time it just settles. It settles really well for me. So yes, they are my favorite.
Okay, so Jane and Ben is undisputed. I cannot pick one. I don't know. I'm young, but I really, really liked Esther Smith. I like Daughters of Glorious Jesus. Like I was telling Nadie this one. She actually said, and I was like, yeah, they are not even in the discussion, but they were also really good in their time.
Yes.
But even with those people, it seems as though now they are not really able to match up. And I say this respectfully because there are certain songs you'd hear, the same artist some years ago, they still resound with you, but now it's not as much. And that's why I was talking about the issue of publicity and whether they have really good PR teams and whether they, I always say, because I'm Christian, I can always say this. Gospel music, it's not the same as secular music. I mean, you're trying to sort of put God in words. It's not just talking about something that happened in life and all of that. And so it takes a lot. It takes more than just penning something down. Prayers have to go through. You have to really speak to people. There's what God will do as you're ministering and all of that. So what exactly is it with gospel music? There was one time a Nigerian musician said that if Ghanaians would maybe sing more in English as against the local language, it would do more for them internationally. So we are talking about marketing here. Do you agree?
No, I don't.
Okay. And I can also agree with you because I like Ekuemi. And I like the parts where the woman does the whole Yoruba thing, the appellation and everything. So I don't think it's about the local language. So if it's not about the local language, are they, especially because Nigerians also have really good, I always say something, Nigeria, they have, if it's the bad, they're really good at the bad, they're really good at the good as well. You know, their artists really put in a lot of effort. You see their videos, you see their... So what is it with our gospel musicians? What do you think it is?
I think I would agree that they don't put a lot of effort into, they are not deliberate about PR.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. They are hoping that, gospel music is supposed to touch you. See how I'm still stuck on Jane and Ben is because the song touched me. They didn't have to do any PR. I had to hear it one time and I felt connected, and that's been it.
CD days.
Exactly, and that's been it. So they hope that when the Spirit touches you or the song moves you, it stays at that. But when we are in an era where it goes beyond that, because once I'm done listening to your music, I'm listening to another person and another person and another person. So something has to make you stand out, and it's definitely not the language barrier.
Okay.
My favorite Nigerian artist is Flavor, right?
Oh.
And Flavor, I mean, for the most part, almost 80% of his songs are not in English, but he's my favorite. And I don't know whatever it is he's saying in the songs. I really don't, but I love it all the same. Okay. So it has nothing to do with language.
Okay.
Music itself is a language. So it transcends whatever language you sing in. It's not that. It's more the PR. It's how deliberate they are with bringing us their music, and not hoping that because we're Christian we're just going to vibe to it, or the Spirit is going to lead us to just love their songs anyway. We've gone beyond that, also because we are not the last generation as it stands. When we were the young ones, when millennials were younger or the youngest at the moment, or at that moment, we would follow, because a lot of us grew up on music that our parents listened to.
Yes.
You'd wake up, and if your mom is playing Daughters of Glorious Jesus and is playing it again and again and again, well, that's what you hear and that's what you know.
Exactly.
And you eventually start loving it, So we kind of were influenced by our parents when it comes to our choice of music and the things we love. We were influenced. Unfortunately, Gen Zs and the Alphas are not influenced by what we do. They are in their own lane, in their own league. They love things like some days my daughter will tell me about a certain song. I've never heard it. I don't know who it is. I don't even know where she hears it because I'm not the one who played it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they are not influenced by us. We were influenced by our parents.
Yeah.
So now that we have these generations who would not just tour a lane just because their parents are on it, you need to do a lot more PR. You need to be a lot more deliberate to bring the music to them instead of just hoping that they catch on.
But wouldn't they also feel a bit some way if they put in so much effort? Because you know that even sometimes when gospel artists are going to perform somewhere, there's the whole discussion of should you charge or shouldn't you charge because you are singing for God. So shouldn't it be something that is sort of free?
That's such a thing of the past. Yeah. Back in the day, right? A pastor, because then it used to be just Orthodox back in the day. So a pastor, I don't know, a Catholic pastor, Presbyterian, what's it called? Pentecostal, a pastor is moved to a certain, they move them around. So he's moved here, and when he's moved to that, I don't know, district or whatever, the people take care of him, right? You have people on Sundays who would have gone to the farm and somebody the bodia, obi the bancho, obi the tomatoes, obi the se. A Sunday after church, the pastor's home is full of stuff. The children of the pastor will go to school for free. They won't have to pay nothing and all of that. Those days are gone. Nobody does that anymore. Okay. So if you sit down and expect that just because he's a pastor, just because he's a gospel musician, he shouldn't have to charge. But how will he take care of his kids and his family and all of that? Those days are long gone. So people, whether you're doing gospel, whatever, you're going to have to make money off of it because that's how you take care of yourself and your family, So once you know I'm looking for the money in the end, you need to equally put in the money to get you the numbers you're looking for that will eventually turn around and come to your concert and pay the money. Otherwise, then, it is just what it is. So I think that they need to be deliberate about PR. And I agree that Esther Smith did some very good PR with her recent concert. And I saw everybody there. I saw everybody there.
So many interviews. Like, I have not seen this with gospel musicians in particular there are some that even shy away from interviews because they don't want to be asked certain questions. They don't want to put themselves out there too much. They feel like they are here to, in essence, serve God and not necessarily put their lives out there. But there's a way I think you can manage yourself while putting what is important as, priority, putting what is first or what is supposed to be first as first, because it's like, okay, I don't want to talk too much about this and I don't want to, but I'm hoping that, but sometimes giving us a background of even how you were inspired to come up with that particular song does a lot in terms of promotion. Maverick City did a hymn, some kind of a hymn. They composed this song where they put a number of hymns together. And one of their leaders, I've forgotten his name, he said that he came home one time and they just realized that their home had been burnt down. And that was how they put down the song. Now, whenever I listen to the song and I know that he composed that song while his house was being razed down by fire, it does something for me.
It does.
I don't think if a secular artist came and said, I was in love with this girl and that's why I put that. I mean, we'll all laugh about it. But then that story for someone who is also listening could do a lot. So maybe they should also learn to put themselves out there more.
Their stories out there more.
It does so much. Some have even, I know we tend to say that we live in a society where people tend to feel pity for people and you have sympathy voters, so you have sympathy listening. I don't know how they want to term that, but you don't know whose story is touching another person and who is just listening and thinking, oh, I'm going through this. At the end of it, for you like this, you said that it's a song you've played throughout.
Through life's times and seasons. And it settles. But they should put their lives out there more. I see that that's something gospel musicians don't like to do. A gospel musician goes through a divorce, they don't want to talk about it. A gospel musician goes through something that typically you would expect from maybe a secular artist. So they feel like, okay, this is shame. They don't want to touch on it. They don't want to talk about it. Even when it comes to doing interviews, they pick and choose where they think they can go. Or let me go to a Christian radio station or Christian TV station. Esther Smith went to Kojo Sheldon's show to promote her concert, and so they would be particular about, no, this blogger is this way or this person is that way and I don't want to. But listen, once you're going all out to promote something, you need to just go all out. And also sharing your story does something to a song. The song One Piece Like a River.
It is well with my soul.
It is well with my soul. And you know the story behind it?
No, I don't know the story.
Oh, so this man, his name was Horatio Spafford, and he lost his entire family, right? His entire family. So back then they used to get on I don't know whether to call it like a ship or a ferry to cross to like the other side of town.
Okay.
And he had to do some business or something. So he went ahead and asked his family to come. And so his family got on the, whether ferry or boat or whatever, and they drowned. In fact, it was just his wife that remained, right? And came back and said that, well, the kids didn't make it. They had... This accident happened and they had drowned, and so it was just the wife that reached him. Yes, and so and these words came to him.
I mean,
it goes,
as you're speaking, I'm now paying attention to the word. Now that I know the story,
it goes further than that. You should actually read up on it. It goes further than that, and so he sat down and he penned it. Whatever my lot, yeah, thou hast taught me to say. It is well
with my soul.
And every time I say those words, it brings tears to my eyes, honestly, because I feel like so now you understand why a story behind a song.
Yes, yeah.
It just does something to you.
And especially, because you're a mother as well, you can sort of relate, put yourself in the man's shoes, know that it actually takes a lot to be able to make that kind of statement in that. Because for someone else, maybe for me, I don't have a child, so it's a sad story for me. But for you, it's more than that. Because you're looking at your kids and you're looking at the fact that, will I be able to make a statement like that? If something like that were to happen. So that's why I was saying initially that it's very important that they get to share their stories. Your story alone is enough publicity for your music, because regardless of anything, even if it's just thank you, knowing why you are saying thank you for this particular song will inspire someone.
And then when people go through the same life problems, they can relate.
Yes.
To your song. It's so relatable because every time that, for any reason I've gone to, and guess what? Anytime I'm hearing that hymn, I'm singing it at somebody's funeral. Every time, right? It is the reason why I'll talk about the hymn and then it brings tears to my eyes. The very recent one was Isaac Koo, our very own Isaac Koo's funeral. When we had to sing that. And you can't help but just relate how it all comes together. And when people, especially gospel artists, if they would understand that a story behind a song is so powerful.
Yeah.
And because life happens and people will go through the same thing you have gone through, and the fact that there is that relatability for them, gosh, that is all the publicity you would need. That is all the PR you honestly
really can't really relate with your song in a particular moment. Then something happens and it begins to make so much sense to them at another time. That's why you even have things happening like a song comes, no one hears about it, then it gets to a particular season, it blows. Like you don't know why it has blown. But certain things, I think there was this song, it's the same guy. I heard when that song was released, initially it didn't have so much hype. And then it got to a time, I don't know whether all of us or everyone was struggling in the world or what, but it began to make so much sense.
Times and seasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's important. Gospel
musicians.
It's important.
Very, very important. I had to talk about gospel music so that it brings tears to my eyes. Gosh. Unbelievable. But yes, that is how important it is, especially for me. My focus would be that gospel artists should learn to share themselves more. And not feel as though we expect them to be a certain kind of way.
Doesn't mean that they are exempt from certain experiences.
Absolutely.
They have experiences just like everyone else.
Absolutely.
And for some reason, it's as though they are supposed to appear as if, okay, because they're gospel musicians, they've never had to encounter this, they've never had this, because then you have questions of people asking, well, you claim you serve a God that is blah, 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 so why was so and so happen to you? But you have to understand that they are built for certain things. putting your life out there and then being inspiring to people is not just about, okay, something happened and all that. Sometimes you are meant to go through it so that you can actually be an inspiration to someone else. So that if I'm telling Natalia about something that happened to me, I'm not hearing it from elsewhere. I have lived it essentially, and so I can contribute to it because I know what it feels like. I know what it takes. So they are not exempt.
And it's more meaningful that way.
Exactly. They are not exempt from certain things, because there are some people, when I hear their stories, the fact that it's coming from them is even inspiring. I'm like, oh, okay, so you were able to withstand this because of the kind of person. I don't know, if someone who you know is very wealthy tells you, oh, I don't have money today, it doesn't really, you're like, oh, don't worry, I'm sure by afternoon or something you'll be fine.
You'll be sorted out. Yes, true.
But if someone tells you how much they've had to labor since childhood and the fact that they couldn't go to school and whatnot, and then they are of good standing at a particular point, you really like to hear that story. You can relate with it, you can understand, you sort of even feel for them, and then you want to apply some of their principles to your life. So if they are saying, thank you, God, for doing something for me, you're like, this is what happened, and this is why she's saying thank you. It's amazing. So
Yes. All right, so the bottom line is that Ghanaians are saying Esther Smith is the gospel goat.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the bottom line. But
that's the bottom line.
So many people can also be, we can say that Florence Obinim has done her share. We can say Daughters of Glorious Jesus have done it. At the end of the day, for an industry like that.
Florence Obinim, though, I haven't heard from her in a minute.
We haven't heard from all these people in a long time. I mean, if not for Esther Smith's recent album, I don't think we've heard from her in a long time.
But guess what? I'm sure if you go deeper and you'd realize that she's released a couple of songs in recent times, and you don't know because she hasn't put out the work to
to do it because as I said, this time no one is actually moving around with a truck with CDs and saying
to
that
play them.
So you have to learn the whole digitalization process, how to sell your music on YouTube with the various social media platforms. It's a different kind of learning, and they would have to catch up, even though they are born in a different era, and so it might be a bit.
I'm sorry, we all are born in a different era, but we're catching up, aren't we?
Natalia wants to come for me because I'm a Gen Z.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're a much more mature Gen Z than the ones I see. Thank you, Etornam. Thank you so much.
Natalia.
So we'll do this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hopefully.